Guys, it's your brother in Christ, Weston. Thanks for joining me today. So today's article comes out of End Times Headlines. Let's get into it. Okay, sorry if I look like a mess. I'm like working out, just finished working out. Well, just finished lifting weights. Got to go walk and actually do some cardio here in a minute. Finish up cardio, and then I got to take a shower. I got to go to the chiropractor. I got a whole bunch of stuff to do today, and I needed to get a video in because this is important. It says here, China has a 6-point plan to defeat Trump and win the economic war. Now, I want you to understand, I think Trump could be too prideful in like submitting, surrendering to China because he's the one that's pushing so aggressively. So let's read. It says here, the Chinese have no intention of giving in to President Trump and are vowing to fight to the end. So that means that the economic war between the number one economy on the entire planet and the number two on the entire planet is officially on. That's right. Yesterday, I warned our readers that imports from China were about to be hit with 104% tariff. I just made a video on that literally yesterday. But because the number has not been reported by mainstream media, yet a lot of people didn't believe me. Of course, this morning, the major news outlets all over the globe were using the number. Here's just one example: Trump merchandise. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Tuesday that because China declined to lift its retaliatory tariff, the president's additional 50% tariff levied on top of its previously imposed 20% and 34% took effect, bringing the total tariff on Chinese goods to 104. Wow. And she added that the tariffs took effect at noon Eastern time Tuesday. The tariff collection set to begin on Wednesday. Leavitt, how do I say that? Said that the U.S. trading partners should be coming to administration with deals to improve trade terms. President's message has been simple and consistent with the beginning to the countries around the world. Bring us your best offers and he will listen. Leavitt said, White House press briefing Tuesday, deals will only be made if they benefit American workers and address our nation's crippling trade deficits. Many were expecting Chinese to back down, but that isn't happening. In fact, China's Commerce Ministry has released a statement that ominously declares that they are ready to fight to the end. Chinese Commerce Ministry said it resolutely opposes the U.S. President Trump's threat of escalating tariffs and vowed to take countermeasures to safeguard its own rights and interests. The comments came after Trump said he would impose an additional 50% duty on U.S. imports from China to Beijing on Wednesday if Beijing does not withdraw the 34% tariff it's imposed on American products last week. The U.S. threat to escalate tariffs on China is mistake on top of mistake. The statement said in a CBNC translation, China will not accept it. If the U.S. insists on its own way, China will fight to the end. I have a feeling that the phrase comes from the very top. I do too. Because a different Chinese spokesperson used almost the exact same language. At a regular news conference on Tuesday, Lin Jian, a Chinese foreign minister spokesperson, said Beijing would take necessary measures against U.S. tariffs threats, according to the CNBC translation of reports in Chinese state media. He reiterated that the Commerce Ministry statement, if U.S. insists on waging a tariff war, a trade war, China will fight to the end. What we are witnessing is a real-life game of economic chicken. Yep. And so what happens if neither side blinks? Ooh, such a great question. The truth is that we could soon have a real nightmare on our hands. I'm telling you, I don't know, but just saying, I got this like hunch in my spirit of like, how do you get to like Revelation 6, seal 1? Where's seal 1, no, second seal, third seal. It's one of the two. Right, not the rider on the white horse. I think it's second seal. It says, repay a full day's wage. Do not harm the oil and wine. Let's see. Do not harm the oil and wine. Meaning, yep. Where's it at? Revelation 6. What seal is this? Revelation 6, verse 6. When he broke the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, come. And I looked, and behold, a black horse. And he who sat on it had a pair of scales, like justice, or weighting the scales. What weighs more than something else? Is it equal footing? And it says, and I heard something like a voice in the center of the four living creatures saying, a quart of wheat for a denarius and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius. Do not harm the oil and the wine. And that could be like tariffs, trade wars, something like that, where the economic situation of something becomes so radical that the weight of, let's say, wheat is weighed this much, and it's a single strand of wheat, right? Or a piece of bread, instead of being $2 or $3 or whatever now is $10. Now it's $15. You see what I'm saying? It is the price of the value or the value of that thing goes skyrockets because there's not enough of it, or it's a high value thing now. Simple things in life that are being weighted are higher in value, which then causes the hurt and the pain upon people to be able to buy things to sustain living, to live, to eat, to drink, to be healthy, to buy organic. Instead, they have to buy like chemically based stuff or this or that or whatever. Like it doesn't matter. Stuff that's filled with pesticides, stuff that's filled with stuff that could damage us and has for years. But the idea that you can't even buy something else because the foods or the necessities of life are too expensive. Let's keep moving. It says here, we are witnessing a real life game of chicken. So what happens to the inside blinks? According to Bloomberg, two influential state-linked Chinese bloggers have published identical lists of countermeasures that Chinese government is prepared to implement. While China hasn't said how it would respond if Trump follows through on its threat, two influential state-linked Chinese bloggers post an identical set of countermeasures that they said authorities are considering. They include raising tariffs on U.S. farm products, a ban on Hollywood movies, investigating American firms' intellectual property gains in the country. Without a doubt, some of the countermeasures would definitely cause quite a bit of pain for our economy. Suspending cooperation with the U.S. on fentanyl, which Beijing itself helped flood into American communities, jacking up tariffs on American farm goods like soybeans and sorghum, blocking U.S. poultry, clamping down on American service industries, investigating U.S. intellectual property in China, and of course, reducing/banning U.S. films. In addition, the Chinese have already placed new restrictions on rare earth elements and have added more U.S. companies to the unreliable entities list. On top of everything else, it appears the major currency devaluation could be right around the corner. And I'm assuming the major currency devaluation. Are we talking about the dollar or the yuan? Um, Interesting. Let's see. This is the most important news. Dope. So this is Michael Snyder, and of course, banning. Where is it? Where is it? Of course, right around the people. The People Bank of China on Tuesday set the midpoint rate, the yuan at 7.2 per dollar, the weakest level since September 2023, according to the data provider. The yuan is allowed to trade with a 2% band on the midpoint rate. The yuan weakening is a big signal. It says this is Beijing politely saying this is getting a little too much. We're putting you on notice. We can devalue if we want, and bigger things may come if you keep this up. This is a clear shot across the bow of Washington, Brooks added. Anyone suggests that Chinese are not able to hurt us does not know what they are talking about. We can really hurt China, but they can really hurt us too. Wouldn't it be better if we could all just find a way to get along? Because of the reality of this matter is that if history has shown us over and over again that trade wars have a way of evolving into shooting wars. Um, and this is a longer thing. So he got this from the most important news, which what we frequent as well. Anyways, so like Revelation 6, what third seal it was that we looked up. Yeah, Revelation 6, third seal. A quart of wheat for a denarius and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine. It seems like random commodity or like basic commodities, things that wouldn't be expensive, are skyrocketing in price. That would mean that other things are skyrocketing in price, and people can't live off the basic necessities of simple foods, water, electricity, housing. Like, what happens is everybody become homeless, and if you don't participate in said system, or this is something happening, then at some point you are having to succumb to a system that you don't want to be a part of, like a beast system, antichrist system, mark of the beast, the charagma, etching of the skin, or dextrose, right hand, and then charagma, what is it? Space between the eyes. Um, I forgot what the Greek word is for the space between the eyes. The forehead, anyways. On the right hand of the forehead, and he who says who have the mark of the beast, the number of the beast, the name of the number of his name, his number is 666. So I say that because that's where my head goes to when I think about stuff like this. So yeah, man, I don't know what's gonna happen, but this is very important to watch. And it's an official kind of situation that it is a trade war, and they are not backing down. And it says it's officially on. So that means the economic war between a number one economy on the planet and number two. Funny how the number two economy seems to hurt us, and possibly more than the number one economy. I'm not sure what services and or trades or things we're importing and we're exporting, and they're importing and we're exporting, or whatever, or how the imports and exports because of there's a lot of things that are made in China. I'm sure half of this stuff is made in China. Um, so I don't know, man. I do not know. Is it good? Is it bad? I have no idea. But I what I do know is I would almost say that neither side's going to back down for the idea of showing any kind of weakness, which is pure pride, and showing that weakness means that you are buckling, crippling under pressure to said person, and so yeah. Anyways, guys, that's the video. If you like the video, be sure to like the video. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. This stuff is wild, and we are trying to stay on top of it because of like Revelation 6 type stuff. You see that? I don't know, man. Maybe we're getting to the seals. Who knows? But I'll see you in the next one.